sir. Welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, baby. Where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game. You watched, so you're allowed to have an opinion too. You don't have to be an athlete. You can be a beer drinking uncle. Here, your opinion matters. We want to hear it. Today's episode has to do with the debacle that is the Cleveland Browns. Okay? Been hearing a lot of chitter chatter, listening to a lot of media outlets, different things of that nature. And all I keep hearing, oh, Deshaun Watson is garbage. Deshaun Watson is trash. Deshaun Watson is over with. Deshaun Watson, he ain't no good. Worst trade ever. Oh my God, you gotta bench him. Bench Deshaun Watson, put Jameis Winston in there. And that's gonna solve everything. Jameis Winston, former first round pick. We gotta bench Watson and put Jameis Winston in there. All of this, everything is Deshaun Watson's fault. Cause he trash, he garbage, he's trash, he's abysmal, he's just terrible, he trash. That's all I've been hearing. Okay, let's dive into that. First of all, I will say Deshaun Watson is not perfect. He has not shown himself to be, the upper echelon, top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league. He's not shown that. And essentially, when you traded for him and you gave him the money, you were expecting to receive top 5, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Preferably top 5. Preferably top 5. Preferably top 5. But you was expecting to get a guy's, top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. So let me preface everything by stating that first. I can call it how I see it. I personally don't have a bias. Now, a lot of the criticisms are kind of, eventually, I think I might be pushed to a bias. And I'm finna give you a litany of reasons why. So, first and foremost, I don't think it's all on Deshaun Watson. I believe the Cleveland Browns' biggest issue at this moment, and it's been one of their biggest issues over the past 4 years, 4 to 5 years, 4 years, I believe. Kevin Stefanski. That's the problem. That's the guy. That's the problem. I've been on record with all the talks that I had with people for, I don't know how, for, like I said, about 4 to 5 years now. Because I believe it was 5 years for Baker, 4 years for Kevin Stefanski. I was telling everybody that both of them have to go. In order for the Browns to be a legitimate contender, looked at as the upper echelon in the, football teams in the NFL, the both of them gotta go. They gotta get out of here. It is what it is. Both of them gotta go. Of course, everybody, way back then when I was, everybody, man, what are you talking about? Baker. People here in Cleveland, they love themselves some Baker Mayfield. Reminded them of Bernie Kosar, I think. So they just fell in love with that guy. And to me, they fell more in love with his bravado and all of the crap that he used to talk as opposed to just strictly his play on the field. Because his play on the field was mediocre. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's a garbage can. You don't really know what you finna get every day when he goes out there. The biggest problem with him was inconsistency. Sometimes he looks like a top 10 to 15 quarterback. Let me not say top 10, but he looks like he's in that 10 to 15 range of quarterbacks. Other times, he looked like he's number 32, possibly 33 if it's a backup starting somewhere, backup in and out of the rotation somewhere. So you didn't ever really get any consistency, out of the guy. Another thing I want to point out, about Baker Mayfield, what we did with Baker Mayfield, what we did with him was once we got rid of Hugh Jackson, because Baker didn't like him, because Hugh Jackson was saying, at that time, Hugh Jackson was saying, well, he's not ready. He's just not ready yet. He's not ready. So we were starting to ride Taylor. That's who we were starting, because Baker wasn't ready. Baker wasn't ready. Then it just so happens Baker get in one day, he balls out, and then that was the end of Hugh Jackson. Okay. Greg Williams had took over as the interim. Did pretty good. Defense wasn't the best, but our defense was creating turnovers like crazy. It was helping us win games. So, it was on the up and up. Me personally, I would have stuck with Greg Williams as the head coach, but hey, he had, a bad rap due to Bounty Gate and all that other kind of stuff. And I guess he just wasn't, likable by, a lot of the upstairs people or what have you. I would have kept with him because his formula was working. He was winning. He was winning football games. He didn't win all of them, but he was winning. He was winning more games than what we was used to. So I would have stuck with him and gave him a shot. But instead, what we did for Baker Mayfield, an unproven guy in the NFL so far, he was a rookie, but we loved him so much that what we did was we said, you know what? Who do you want to be the coach, Baker Mayfield? Because we want you to feel as comfortable as possible. So who do you like? Who do you want? He said he wanted Freddie Kitchens. Boom. Made Freddie Kitchens the head coach. No questions asked. That's who you want, Baker? That's who you gonna get, buddy. Now in hindsight, which is always 2020, Freddie Kitchens turned out to be, like, I believe what we unanimously view him as is the worst head coach in the history of football. Professional football, that is. I don't know. It might even be some Pee-wee coaches that's better than him. And a lot of the reasons that we used to say those things is because he used to do inexplicable stuff. The infamous halfback draw on 4th and 9 that he called. The infamous halfback draw on 4th and 9. Repeated situations where we would remove Nick Chubb from the game and put in Dontrell Hilliard, who we had at the time as a backup. We would put in Dontrell Hilliard, and then when they asked him about it, after the game, like, hey man, why would you take arguably one of the best running backs in NFL out of the game on this 3rd and short situation instead of having him in there? And Freddie Kitchens' response was, well, Dontrell is our 3rd down back. That's our 3rd down back. That's our 3rd down guy. Well, then they asked him, like, okay, but does that mean he only knows the plays, or does Nick Chubb know the plays too? He said, yeah, Nick Chubb know the plays and he practiced them. But you was just so high strong on, nope, Dontrell Hilliard is the 3rd down back, not changing it. Not sending Chubb out there. I don't care how important this down is. I don't care how important this 1 yard is. I don't care how good Nick Chubb is at running back. Dontrell Hilliard is our 3rd down back. So he going out on the field. I'm driving this bus. And he drove it into a wall. He crashed it. That's what he did. Wearing the F Pittsburgh shirt, I believe it was. Then when they asked him why you wear that, oh, my daughters thought I should wear it. They said that was a good thing if I wore it. Not thinking about you ticking off a bunch of grown men in that Pittsburgh locker room. Instead, forget that. No, I'm gonna go with what my daughters say. That's the best idea. Now, I'm not saying, like in your typical everyday life, like, they ignore what your daughters are saying, anything like that. But I'm saying the job that you get paid to, millions of dollars to do, whereas grown men in the NFL, I don't think you should be taking orders from your daughters. That's all I'm saying. That's the only thing I'm saying. Okay? Because if that's the case, then give your daughters the headset and let them coach the team. If that's where your orders is coming from. Anyway, enough of Freddie Kitchens. Oh, real quick, because it's going to double back later on. Even once Freddie Kitchens was fired from the Browns, and he was deemed unanimously the worst head coach ever in the NFL, he was able to get a job very swiftly afterwards as the tight ends coach for the New York Giants. Okay, so even the worst guy in the history of the NFL coaching was able to get another job once being fired. Here we move to Kevin Stefanski, okay, Mr. Two-time Coach of the Year. Okay, let me address that first. The first Coach of the Year that you won, in my opinion, you won it simply because it was the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns, they were 1-31. They had won one game in 2 years. Had a parade the year we went 0-16. That's how bad it was. You won Coach of the Year because we went from so bad to, you know what? We got to the playoffs and won one game. This guy has to be the Coach of the Year. Even though you didn't, call the plays in that playoff game or whatever, what have you. I think he had COVID or something like that. I don't know. But he wasn't calling the plays. He wasn't there. Still, all right, whatever. Coach of the Year. I'll actually let him. I believe you should have that. You should have got that one. Coach of the Year. You should have got that. Because you took him from 1-31 and boom, there you go. Okay. So all right, that one's cool. However, this second Coach of the Year that you got, I believe, was a fraud. I believe that should have went to DeMeco Ryans, in my personal opinion. And to help back me up on that, not only did DeMeco Ryans take his team to the playoffs after just basically making 2 picks, they got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson on defense. They got C.J. Stroud as a quarterback, Will Anderson on defense. And somehow, next thing you know, Texans go from being bottom of the barrel team to making the playoffs and beating the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, the coach who won Coach of the Year, he got beat by DeMeco Ryans in the playoffs. He got beat by him with a rookie quarterback, mind you. Rookie quarterback, mind you. Okay. Flacco. In that game, because that's another quarterback we loved here. Joe Flacco. Because everybody loved to talk about maybe it was like a 4 or 5 game stretch at the end of the year where Flacco was kind of lighting it up a little bit. Flacco. Flacco's the best thing since sliced bread. But then when you got Flacco to the playoffs and you needed him the most, he threw 2 pick sixes. Well, one of them was essentially a pick six because he picked it off and I think ran it to like the 4 or 5 yard line, something like that, and they ended up scoring. 2 pick sixes. When you needed him the most to be lighting it up, to light it up across the board, he got outdueled by a rookie. With Kevin Stefanski calling these masterful plays that ended up in pick sixes. That's fact, not my opinion. That's a fact. Okay. So for me, the second Coach of the Year, that to me was like a combination of coaches that helped him win that. We had AVP, helping with the offense, with the offense and the play calling. I mean, well, I ain't gonna say the play calling, but helping with the offensive scheme and the offensive linemen and their blocking schemes. We had Stump Mitchell, very great running backs coach. The running backs that we had loved themselves some Stump Mitchell. Loved him. Absolutely loved him. Absolutely loved him. Oh my goodness. Got rid of him. So I think there were a lot of things that went into him, Kevin Stefanski, meaning winning that second Coach of the Year. Now, let's get into why I believe he's a fraud. Okay? And the biggest fraud and the biggest problem for the Cleveland Browns. There are several notable things that Freddie Kitchens did when he was the head coach that also Kevin Stefanski does as the head coach. Now, here's my thing. If we all kind of recognize Freddie Kitchens as the worst NFL head coach ever, to me, rule number 1 coming in to replace him, Like if I'm coming in to replace you, rule number one for me is I'm not finna do anything that he did. It's rule number one for me. I need a list of all the things he did because I don't want to do any of them. Because they said he's the worst in history, and I don't want to be anything like that. So give me a list of all the stuff he did so I can make sure I'm not doing that. With Kevin Stefanski, I call him Freddie Stefanski or Kevin Kitchens, either one, whichever you'd like. It's like not only do he pull pieces from Freddie's book, but he doubled down on it when he do it. So, for example, Freddie Kitchens, where I talked about earlier, he take Nick Chubb out of there. Dontrell Hilliard is our third down back. Kevin Stefanski has done quite a bit of that over the past 4 years. We looking up at third and fourth and short, and Nick Chubb is standing on the sideline next to him. Why? Why? He's standing next to him. And then we put Jerome Ford in the game. Or Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson is a really nice running back. Underrated in my opinion. But he's not Nick Chubb. Standing on the sideline though. In third and short, fourth and short. Not only that, he put a cap on the number of carries that Nick Chubb can have. He has a pitch count. A pitch count. Which means no matter how dominant Nick Chubb is running the ball on another team in the game, once he gets to 18 carries, that's it. We can't give him the ball anymore. We got to preserve his health. So 18 carries, we can't give him any more carries than that. I understand he's got 200 yards on 18 carries, and he's killing them right now. We can't go over the 18 carries. The analytics say that this is it, and we got to preserve our running back. And we did all that preservation just for him to end up getting hurt anyway. We did all that preservation just for him to get his knee torn to shreds. So what did all that preservation get us? Because he ended up getting hurt anyway. So imagine all of the times that all the wins we could have got just running the ball more with him. But we couldn't do it because we wanted to preserve him, and then he ended up getting hurt anyway. He got hurt anyway. That's for starters. Okay? Another example, ridiculous play calling. And I mean absolutely ridiculous. I don't mean like you got to go into the all 22 and break down every route that was ran and all. Because I could go, I got a list of things that I could do with that. But I just want to stick with the absolute basics. Football 101. That's what I want to stick with. So another similarity that Stefanski has with Freddie Kitchens. For whatever the reason may be, however you want to slice it, dice it, however you choose to, as they say, it's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. But for me, what he do is a lot of putting lipstick on a pig, so to speak. So another thing that he do that's pretty much the same as what my boy Freddie Kitchens used to do is be real bland about certain stuff when the pressers come around. He always deflects. It's always the same answer. Well, we got to do better. We got to do our job. I got to do my job. We got to do better. We got to be better. We got to play better. Running backs got to run. The receivers got to receive. Quarterbacks got to throw. Blockers got to block. Well, duh. I mean, that's football. Like, duh. And the point is, you keep coming out saying this every week, but nothing changes. Every week it's the same thing. Nothing changes. So you just keep saying, well, we got to do better. I got to coach better. We got to be better. Everybody's got to do the job, but nothing changes. And this has been 4 years now. Like nothing changes. Absolutely nothing. So the really bland answers, if you will. Another comparison between the two. Idiotic, boneheaded play calling. Let's stick with the basics again. Let's stick with the basics. In the very first game of this season, 2024, for the Browns, Deshaun Watson is coming off of shoulder surgery. Okay? Significant shoulder surgery, to where people are questioning, is he fully healthy? We don't know, blah blah blah. We don't know. So other people are questioning. We don't know if he's fully healthy or not. Okay. In the very first game, 2024, your starting $230 million quarterback who's fresh off of shoulder surgery, you run a play, you run a reverse with Deshaun Watson, you run a reverse that comes back around and has Deshaun Watson as your lead blocker on the reverse. I mean, let's think about this for a minute. Football 101. I got my $230 million quarterback who's fresh off of shoulder surgery. Why on earth would I call a reverse with him kicking out as the lead blocker? First of all, no quarterback should ever be kicked out as a lead blocker. I'm sorry. That's just the nature of the game. And the way they protect quarterbacks nowadays. Like they don't want you to do this to the quarterback in the head when he's throwing the ball, but you can send him out there as a lead blocker though, to get toe up. Trying to block a 350-pound lineman. Like, make that make sense to me. Of all the people you could have be the lead blocker on the reverse, you pick the quarterback who's fresh off of shoulder surgery. Like, when I try to say these things to people, they always try to hurry up and cut me off and say something about something else instead of focusing on what I'm saying, which is what on earth would be the I even had a person tell me that was Deshaun Watson, that he went rogue. That the play wasn't designed for him to be the lead blocker out there, when, if you're watching it, it clearly was. But that he just made that up on his own. What? Like, what? What? Because in Deshaun's mind, I'm pretty sure he's thinking, like, why on earth are we sending me out here as a lead blocker? Y'all don't remember my shoulder. Y'all don't. So you're going to send me out here as a lead blocker, huh? All right, man. If that's what you want me to do, whatever. That's crazy work. How on earth could you, like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking here? More boneheaded play call. Again, football 101. I'm not even talking about all 22 stuff. I'm talking about football 101. Just this past weekend in the game that we had, okay, against the Washington Commanders, we already getting our butts kicked in the first half. I think it was like 24-6. Coming out of halftime, okay? Not only that, coming out of halftime, 24-6, we losing. The Commanders get the ball. So, boom, they get the ball. Our defense, I believe, gets an interception. Okay? We got control of the ball now. All right? So, we come to... Oh, no, wait. This might be the same scenario. It might be two different ones. But regardless, they both boneheaded play calls. So, we have a third and one. Oh yeah, no, I think this is a different scenario. So this one wasn't the out of halftime. I think the out of halftime was something different. The interception part was right. For the out of halftime. And for that one, so let me talk about that one first. Boom. So we get the interception. Okay, we get a couple plays. To, I believe, Amari Cooper, get a couple completed passes. Boom, get down to the red zone. We get a penalty for too many men in the huddle. That's not Deshaun Watson's fault. People should know the plays. If they don't, that's coaching. You should know if you're in or if you're out on this play. Deshaun got enough to worry about breaking down the defense, preview, doing all this other stuff. He don't got time to be making sure everybody knows, if you're supposed to be on the field right now or do you not? Like, we grown men at this point, bruh. We're not playing pee-wee. You grown men. You should know if you should be on the field or not. You should know that. You should know if this package has you in on this play. You should know that. I'm sorry. So yeah, we get penalized. Then there was some other garbage that happened. I think maybe a holding call, some other garbage. Next thing you know, I think he got sacked. So next thing you know, we got to kick a field goal, and we was right there in scoring position. Next thing you know, we got to kick a field goal. None of that is Deshaun Watson's fault. I'm sorry, but it's not. It's not his job to know how many people. He shouldn't have. That's coaching. Because if that's his job, then what do we got the coach for? What are you doing then? What is your job? What is your job description? What can we hold you accountable to if your job ain't to do nothing? One of the other boneheaded plays that I was trying to get to, I forget what point in the game it was, but it was 3rd and 1. So on a 3rd and 1, we take our starting running back out of the game, a la Freddie Kitchens, because we're gonna take Nick Chubb out. Now we don't have Nick Chubb right now. It's a guy named Jerome Ford. But if it was Nick Chubb, we'd take him out too. It really doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. Stefanski does that all the time. So Jerome Ford, we take him out, and then we put Pierre Strong in the game. Who is Pierre Strong? Nobody knows. Nobody knows who he is. So we put him in on 3rd and 1, a crucial down, crucial yard that we need. We take the starting running back out, who would, I guess, presumably be better than Pierre Strong. That's why he's starting. We take him out and put Pierre Strong in. Run it, we get stopped. Don't get the first down. The following play after that, we take our starting quarterback out, put the backup quarterback in, Jameis Winston, on 4th and 1, to, I guess, give the sense to the other team that we might be about to run this quarterback sneak, because we've done that a couple times already throughout the course of the first 5 games of the season. We'll randomly take the starting quarterback out, put Jameis Winston in just to run a quarterback sneak. Yet, you had him in the first game running a play where he was the lead blocker. So let me get this right. His shoulder good enough to be a lead blocker, but it's not good enough to run a QB sneak. That doesn't make sense. So anyway, after we don't get the 3rd and 1 with Pierre Strong, we take our starting quarterback out, put the backup quarterback in, and instead of just running the quarterback sneak, that, I mean, when they've done it, it's been pretty successful. I hate it, but usually on the 4th and 1, if Jameis Winston do the QB sneak, we get it. I think one time we got stopped out of all the times that we did it. I think it was one time we got stopped. Instead of just running the QB sneak, we run a pitch play and still don't get the first down. Let's go back to football 101 here. One of the simplest but easiest things to mess up is the exchange between the quarterback and the center. One of the simplest things in football, but also one of the easiest things to mess up. That's why you see quarterback taking snaps from under center, or when the backup getting ready to go in, you will see him over on the sideline taking snaps from under center, because it's such an easy thing. However, it's very easy to mess up as well. So football 101, my starting quarterback and the starting center already have that chemistry as far as like the exchange on the snap, receiving the snap. So number one, by putting the backup in, I'm jeopardizing, I could potentially get a fumbled snap here, because the center got a rhythm with my starting quarterback, not with the backup. So automatically I'm risking a fumbled snap. That's for starters. So you would think, to eliminate the possibilities of messing up, hey, look, as long as we get the snap, just push forward, we'll get that 1 yard. No, you risk more error. You risk more stuff going wrong by then running a pitch play with the backup quarterback. If you was going to pitch the ball, why you ain't just leave Deshaun Watson? So Deshaun Watson can't make a pitch? Make it make sense to me. Not only that, but who's to say that the backup quarterback and the running back have the chemistry with the pitch? Not only that, a pitch play, again, It seems so very simple, but it's one of the things where it's very easy for something to go wrong. You can pitch the ball too far in front. You can pitch the ball too far behind. You can pitch the ball right on him and it bounce off his face mask. Next thing you know, you got a fumble or a backwards pass that's finna turn into a fumble. It's just you opening yourself up for stuff that can go wrong. Why? If you're going to put the backup quarterback in, just run the QB sneak like you've been doing. Or if you actually going to run a play with the backup quarterback where there's an exchange, just have him hand the ball off to the running back. Why do we got to pitch it to him? There's less that could go wrong, you would think, if you just take it, put it in his bread basket. You would think that it'd be easier running back, just hit it right here in the bread basket. At least we got a less chance of the ball flailing around and fumbling around somewhere than a pitch play. On 4th and 1 with the backup quarterback? Like, where do they do this kind of stuff at and then people champion you as this great head coach? Oh, he's the coach of the year. That's a fraud. That's a fraud is what that is. I don't see any other team in the NFL taking out their starting quarterback and putting the backup in to run a QB sneak. When the Eagles was doing the tush push 32 times a game, not once did they take Jalen Hurts out. Not a one time did they take him out and say, hey man, look, we just gonna have a backup run this. And then you can't tell me that they taking him out because they scared of him getting injured. Because if that was the case, why in the very first game of the year did you run a reverse with him as a lead blocker? How can you defend any of that? To me, that's a coach who's trying to be so smart that he's dumb. You trying so hard to outsmart the other team that you outsmarting yourself. You getting smart about stuff that you don't have to be smart about. I think that's what's wrong with some of them analytical people. You should get to a point where it's just, this is football. And just football tells you 4th and 1, this ain't the time to be cute. Football 101 tells you that. This is not the time to be cute. And I think what happens is, because you had that rare occasion, like, for example, the Saints in the Super Bowl that year where they led off the second half and they did the onside kick and recovered it. Do you realize that if they don't recover that kick, that will probably go down as one of the dumbest, that will probably take over Freddie Kitchens as the dumbest play call in the history of the NFL. But because it worked that one time, it's championed. The problem with Kevin Stefanski is when he get one of them kind of things to work, he want to do it 4-5 more times in the same game. Thinking that you outsmarting somebody and you only outsmarting yourself when you should just do the standard basic 1, 2, 3 play. 4th and 1, all right, boom, we either running it straight up the middle or we QB sneaking it. That's when you look your guys in the eyes, if you're a leader of men, which I don't think he is, you look everybody in the eyes and I need a hat on a hat. Push them back. We got to get this yard. Do you want it more than they do? But I don't think he has that in him. The only thing I think Kevin Stefanski has in him, I'm looking for wish I had a sheet or an envelope here, is him holding that play card up over his mouth. That to me seems like to be the only thing that he care about. That's another comparison to Freddie Kitchens. When everybody was telling Freddie, like, hey man, maybe you should just give up the play calling. Freddie was adamant, I ain't giving up play calling. It's me. I'm calling the plays around here. Stefanski, you doing the same thing, buddy. People like, all right, well, they brought in another offensive coordinator. Like, why don't you just let Ken Dorsey do his job? Like, he just there to help you revamp the offense, but you still the one calling the plays, though. Calling these idiotic plays where you calling the reverse with the quarterback as the lead blocker. You putting Pierre Strong in the game on 3rd and 1. You running a pitch play with the backup quarterback on 4th and 1. Make these things make sense to me, man. Then he claims he's aggressive, but sometimes he go for it on fourth down. Other times he doesn't. There's times when you think, oh, he should go for this, and he doesn't. But there are other times like, why are we going for this fourth down? And he lining it up, ready to go. Like, it's absolute craziness. Another thing with Stefanski, there's very notable how many players, once they've gotten away from Stefanski and his offense, they look like completely different players. One of them I don't like and I'm not a fan of, but I'm not biased though. I could call it how I see it. Baker Mayfield. The same problems that we claiming from Deshaun Watson. Oh, he holds the ball too long. Not reading and dissecting the defense as well. Those were the same complaints that we had about Baker Mayfield. Throws being off. You know, the timing of the throws being off, and the throws are either high or wide. Those were all the same complaints that we had about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield go over there to LA. Looks decent. Just decent. He just looks decent, but he didn't look as bad as he looked with the Browns. Carolina is a trash dump factory, so I can't even rate him at Carolina. I don't even count that for him. Much as I don't like him, I can't put that on him. That's not him. Carolina is just a dumpster fire. It's probably the only team worse than the Browns right now. That's a dumpster fire. So I can't put that on him. But then when he got over to Tampa Bay, where he got some talent around him and an experienced play caller, if I'm not mistaken, Baker Mayfield probably statistically, I think he probably top 10 right now. In 2024, through the first 5 games, he might be statistically in the top 10. Baker Mayfield. He got away from Cleveland. He got away from Kevin Stefanski. He got away from him. And then what do you know? I'll give you another player, Odell Beckham. When Odell Beckham was here, for some reason, it was just, they can't get him the ball. Can't get him the ball. They can't seem to link up. They can't seem to connect. Odell Beckham leaves here, goes to the LA Rams, wins the Super Bowl. We saw him score more touchdowns in them games that he played with the LA Rams than all the years that he spent here with the Cleveland Browns. Somehow Sean McVay could scheme Odell open and they could get him the ball, but we couldn't do it here. Even after Odell's dad put together a 10-minute video of Odell running wide open. For 10 solid minutes of video footage, it's just Odell running wide open and him not getting the ball. Goes to the Rams, wins the Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, up until his injury, he was in the lead for the MVP of the Super Bowl. The same guy that when he was here in Cleveland, everybody like, he's done. He's through. He's trash. Odell's trash. He can't do anything. He's not doing anything. He can't do anything. Then he went over there and played on the other side of Cooper Kupp, and in the Super Bowl was playing better than Cooper Kupp. The same guy who was, he's trash. Odell doesn't have it anymore. He's terrible. Can't catch the ball. He's this, he's that. Oh my God, he's nothing. When truth be told, when Odell was here, he was the model citizen. He wasn't proposing to no goalposts or proposing to no kicker nets or none of that garbage. He didn't have nothing bad to say when he could. He definitely could have. Not only that, he genuinely wanted to be here because he wanted to be here with Jarvis Landry. But that's how Cleveland is. The people that want to be here, they run them out of town. People that don't want to be here, they just obsess over them. I'll give you another one. Kareem Hunt. Each and every year. First of all, let me take it back. Let me take it back a step. First of all, they used to ask Kevin Stefanski, well, why don't you ever put Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt on the field together at the same time? Because everybody used to wonder that. Why don't you ever put them back there together? That's just more stuff that the defense got to worry about now. Like, wait a minute. Is they going to give it to Kareem Hunt? Is they going to give it to Nick Chubb? Like, we don't know. We got to keep our eye on both of them. Imagine the play calls that you could come up with if you just gave that to a Madden person, a person who's real good at Madden. Imagine the plays that they could come up with in their mind if they got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And this is Kareem Hunt a few years ago, Kareem Hunt, not the Kareem Hunt of today. But let's get to the Kareem Hunt of today. The Kareem Hunt of today that they didn't want to bring back after last year. They didn't sign him. Then Nick Chubb get hurt. Oh, we want to reach out to Kareem Hunt now. He come here. He plays like a role of a short yardage running back, which he excelled in. Beautiful. Scoring touchdowns left and right. This guy was on the couch. You didn't want him. You didn't want him till somebody got hurt. Then you had to go to him crying and begging. So he saved your butt last year. He helped you, Kevin Stefanski, win Coach of the Year, buddy. What do you do the following year? Nah, we ain't going to get him. We got Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong. Man, if you don't get... No, we don't need Kareem Hunt. Then next thing you know, week 4, something like that, 3, 4, Kansas City lose Pacheco. Who the first person they reach out to? Kareem Hunt. Then the first chance Kareem Hunt get where he started the game and he's the full back, dude had, I think he had 26, 27 carries, something like that. 100 plus yards, TD. Think he caught a pass for 15 yards. He looked similar, not exactly the same. He looked similar to the old Kareem Hunt that was in Kansas City before he got to Cleveland. So how is it that Kansas City and Andy Reid, real team, real coach, how is it they could find a way to use Kareem Hunt, but the coach of the year couldn't? You're the coach of the year. You couldn't assess Kareem Hunt and say, you know what? That's a piece that we would need. Because Nick Chubb ain't going to be there for the first, 7 weeks of next year. You know what? We probably going to need Kareem Hunt. Not to mention, again, Kareem Hunt, person that didn't mind being in Cleveland. He wanted to be here. This is his hometown. So he was completely fine with being here. He had no problems with being here. Very adamant about he wanted to be here. What do? We mistreat him. Kick him to the curb. Oh, no, we don't want you. You're garbage. After he just helped you win Coach of the Year. Make it make sense to me. Somehow, all of these players that was suffering over here, that was, oh, no, they're garbage. They're trash. They don't have anything left. Then they go somewhere else and they balling out of control. And if they ain't balling out of control, at least they're balling consistently. Baker has looked the most consistent that he's looked his entire career over there in Tampa Bay. Real team, real coach. So for me, the common denominator in all of this stuff that I'm talking about is Kevin Stefanski. That's the common denominator. Kevin Stefanski. We got rid of Alex Van Pelt. We got rid of him. You know, after last year, we got rid of him. Stump Mitchell, our running backs coach, we got rid of him. Yeah, we got rid of him. I don't know why, but we got rid of him. What's the result? Our offensive line looks absolutely terrible, and we have no running game. Go figure. Go figure that. Go figure. Also, now that I mentioned that, we put all this on the quarterback. Quarterback. Anybody took a look at the offensive line? Now, first, let me give a little bit of grace. Offensive line is banged up. Been banged up since the beginning of the year. Can't get Conklin out there. Jedrick Wills, I've never been a fan of. We drafted a guy that played right tackle and moved him to left tackle. That's dumb. That's dumb to me. That's dumb. Very dumb. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. If you need a left tackle, don't draft a right tackle and move him to left. Just pick the best left tackle. That's all you got to do. Instead of, let me pick the best lineman and then make him a left tackle. No, just pick the best left tackle. If that's what you want, If you want left tackle, just pick the best left tackle. Now he ain't gotta learn nothing new. He's just playing a position that he probably played all his life. So he mediocre at best when he healthy. He ain't been in and out. Ethan Posick, I don't know what's going on with him this year. Wyatt Teller, in and out. So, yeah, offensive line is a little banged up. DeJuan Jones has been, oh my goodness, he's been a turnstile this year. Another pick, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Another one of you guys' picks. Just like Anthony Schwartz was one of you guys' picks. No matter how many balls he dropped, you kept throwing it to him. Harrison Bryant. I'm glad they finally let go of Harrison Bryant. Because that's what we used to do here. Instead of throwing the ball to our premier pass catchers, we want to draw up plays for the third string tight end, a la Harrison Bryant. Why? Why? Why are we drawing up plays for the third string tight end? Why? When we got pretty much some couple Pro Bowlers out there that can catch the ball. And Njoku and Amari Cooper. Why are we drawing up plays for Harrison Bryant? Make that make sense to me. You could be giving Nick Chubb the ball instead of throwing it to Harrison Bryant, who, mind you, since he left the Browns, I think he's in Las Vegas now. They're not throwing the ball to him. You know why? They got Brock Bowers. They're not like, we're going to skip over Brock Bowers. We're going to throw it to Harrison Bryant. No. Over here, we was like, I forget you, David Njoku. We're going to throw it to Harrison Bryant. I forget you, Amari Cooper. We're going to throw it to Harrison Bryant. Stop it. You stop that. You stop it. Football 101, stop it. That's stupid. So, for me, Kevin Stefanski is the issue. He will continue to be the issue until he's, no longer here. In my personal opinion. Listen here, man. I could go on and on and on. At this point, I gotta get going. I gotta get my son to football practice. While I'm sitting here talking about all this football, I gotta get my son to football practice. But I'll probably end up doing a part 2 to this. I probably will, honestly, because there's so much more that I could break down about why Kevin Stefanski is absolute trash. And I'm looking for anybody that's out there, anybody to debate me on this. Absolutely anybody. Use the information I just provided here and then debate me as to why Kevin Stefanski is not absolute trash. All right. Another episode of Dogs on the Couch. Signing off. Thank you. Oh, and for those who watching on YouTube or whatever, please, man, like, comment, subscribe. Please comment and tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how Kevin Stefanski is a great head coach, even a good head coach at this point. Dogs on the Couch. Signing off, baby.